Now before I turn my machine on, I do want to take some pins and secure this outside edge, so that when I start stitching there, because I'm going to be stitching about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch away from this top edge inside, you want to keep that narrow because I don't want to take away from my edge, whether it be my border or my blocks. I just want to use enough so that the stitch line that I'm going to use here with my machine to baste it will be encased or hidden inside the binding once it's applied to the quilt. And this is one reason I like to have my backing not too taut, because if it's too taut, then I won't be able to get my pins in. But like this, I can just push the fabric behind it because I do want this to be going through all 3 layers. So when I'm stitching and basting along this edge, I can keep everything flat. Notice I started in the center or somewhere about there and going out in one direction because I'm smoothing out as I go and as I place these pins. And then I'll go back from the center out this way, smoothing out as I place the pins. I've pinned across the entire top horizontal edge there, and then also down vertically on the 2 shorter sides up until I reach that next roller. And that's going to help the layers stay in place till I get to the point of where I need to advance my quilt layers and continue quilting the next row. To baste down my top edge, I'm starting in the center, and then I'm going to go out one direction, come back, start again in the center, and go out in the other direction. First thing you want to do, let me get my foot over the fabric here. First thing you want to do is take 1 stitch so you can bring up the bobbin threads. Okay, I'm going to take a stitch about 1/8 of an inch or to 1/4 of an inch into the quilt top from the top edge, okay? I bring the needle up, and now when I move my machine out of the way, you can see I have a thread here that came up, and that's my bobbin thread. Now I have the blue here is the top, and a really pale pink is my bobbin. And I have them both in my hand. Now I'm going to go right back in the same spot where I came in, and I'm going to take 2 or 3 stitches there. Now I have my machine here, and I like to guide with my hand so that I can go smoothing as I go in case I didn't catch any of the puckering here with my pins. I'm setting my machine to really kind of slow here, and I'm just going to move. And what I'm trying to do is move a little bit fast so that the basting line, the stitches are a little bit longer. You don't want them super tight in case you do have to take them off. Just like if you're sewing or piecing, you would take off your pins as you go. And this part takes practice because my machine doesn't have any kind of a stop on the back that will keep it going exactly horizontal, so you just have to control it with your hand. So here's what my basting line kind of looks like, and I'll just continue that the entire length of the way. Start back in the center and do it to the other direction all across the top. Once I get to the end, I like to stitch off the end completely and then come back and do this vertical line down the side edge. So I'm going to keep going here, and I just come back and keep going straight down. Okay, that's as far as my machine comes forward. So I'm going to go up. I'm bringing the thread with me, okay? Pull it with my hand a little bit, and I'm going to go right back in the same hole where it came out of. Lift it up again, and now I've lifted up the bobbin thread, okay? And now I'll just cut off my threads there, okay? Now I need to do the other side. I'd also like to mention that I don't clamp down the sides of my quilt. You can see I have them here. I'll show you what they look like. These are the ones that came with the machine or with the frame, right? It has a Velcro on this side that holds it in place. And basically what you do is like these really hard clamps, and you would clamp either your backing or whatever basically you could reach, and then tug on it to help keep everything taut. But you can see that the way I rolled my stuff on here, and even though I'm floating my quilt tops, I don't really have a problem with this. And when I give myself extra fabric, I really don't need the clamps. They actually, if I was quilting really close by here, say I didn't have as much excess backing as I have here, if I was really close, this actually really gets in the way of when I'm quilting, and it won't allow you for the machine to get right up close to it because it bumps up against the machine. So that was one way, that's what came with it. Then I'd seen from a friend of mine this other option, which is a way smaller little clamp thing, and it's actually a bodkin. It's used with elastic, and so you open it up, and I would pinch the fabric here and then slide this up so that it grips it, and then the same idea, you pull it back. This is a lot less cumbersome than using the big old clamps, but after the months went by and I kept using my machine, I realized I really just did fine without it. So you don't always have to use everything that comes with your machine. Play around with it, do some research online, and you might decide, like I did, that you can do without it.